I meant to start this at 5. I apologize, guys. And let me know how the audio is. But I haven't done a weekend live feed. And I thought I'm really kind of neglecting a good chunk of people that would want to watch that are off during the week because it's Saturday. I'm not doing anything on Saturday, that's for sure, because I'm poor. And if you know anything about us poors, we don't do stuff on weekends because it's more expensive. So let me get this chat set up here so that it's all messages. There we go. I've been spending a good chunk of the day today trying to get stuff done for the wife and kid to come back. I was gonna try and film a bunch of stuff. If you guys saw the community post that I did, I've got it down to where I've only got a Band-Aid on it, but I definitely did cut myself really bad. I'm just waiting for a few people to show up before I start dropping stuff in, but I did cut my thumb really badly. I can't feel the tip of my thumb right now, but it is really, so I can't feel it, but when I try to manipulate a knife, that's the only time I can feel it, and then it hurts really bad when I put any pressure on it. So I can't film a lot of the stuff I wanted to film. But I will give you a bit of safety advice if you are dealing with knives, and it's something like I know better, and I swear to God, like this is one of those things. If you deal with knives all the time, Jared's done it, I've done it, we've told you guys that we've hurt ourselves. As careful as I am, when you're dealing with knives as often as guys like me and Jared did, I gotta fix this, sorry guys. This cord is not working with me. Guys like me and Jared and other knife YouTubers, we deal with knives all the time. And no matter how careful you are, you're gonna cut yourself. It's just gonna happen. You're gonna cut yourself. Rickert, what's up, man? You're gonna cut yourself. I did it pretty good this time. Had I went to the hospital instead of just taking care of it myself, I'm allergic to Novocaine, so if I had went, they would have had to have stitched it without, this is driving me crazy. They would have had to have stitched it without Novocaine anyway. So I was like, yeah, I'm just not going. And so, sorry if I'm bumping the microphone, but I'm trying to get this cord management dealio figured out here where the cord's not catching on. This is gonna piss me off. I'm gonna wind up not using the lavalier. You guys see what I'm talking about? Like it was fine the other day. At any rate, no matter how hard you try, no matter how careful you are gonna cut yourself. If you're dealing with knives all the time. I was filming a video that you guys are gonna get to see tomorrow about a bunch of knives. Yeah, it was no muzzle loader ramrod incident. I'll tell you guys that story in a little bit. That's my sister. My father, it was interesting. That was a fun one. But I mean, I cut myself pretty badly. I mean, like, knowing how many times I've had stitches, I can judge it. We're looking between 4 to 6 stitches on that. It covered the whole thumb. If you guys saw the community post, yeah, I cut myself pretty good. What happened was I got, hey, there's Scab right there, Choir Boys Cutlery. What happened was, speaking of which, the knife he gave me is what caused it, and it's tender. It is tender. What happened was I was filming this knife. It was part of a segment, and I kind of choked, and I was like, oh, I gotta get a drink of water. You know that dry throat thing you get that makes you cough and you can't talk because your voice gets like this. That's what happened. I went in to get a drink of water, and I set the knife down. This knife, the Grizzly, the Work Tough Gear Grizzly. And I set it down, and I swear to God, I thought that I put it back in its sheath. So I came out, I sat back down because I was filming out in the yard on my little like park bench, that's concrete park bench that's in the yard. And I reached behind me to grab the knife, and I jammed about that much of that knife, a good half-inch piece of that, about a half-inch of that knife into my thumb. And immediately, just, it was bad. There was blood everywhere. It was one of those deals. My father was famous for doing stuff, hence the, yeah, I can't feel this side of my thumb. Like the whole side of it is numb. which is weird because it's numb until I want to use it, and then it's very, very sensitive. At any rate, my father was famous for doing stuff, and more than once we came home and heard our mother say, "Okay, follow that trail of blood and see if your dad's okay. Just make sure he's fine." So that was, I mean, I come by it honest. So guys, if you're here, please drop a like. There's only 2 likes on this. But the box that I showed came from KATSU Knives. And so we are going to look at this. I typically don't do unboxing style things because they don't do too well, but I thought maybe we would look at this together. KATSU has been awesome to work with. They've sent me a bunch of stuff. All the stuff they have sent me has been, it's been really good. I have not had a problem with any of the stuff that KATSU Knives has sent. And so this is the first time it's been solicited. I reached out to them because I really wanted to see this. And Scott, if you're still here, Scabby, you are going to get to see this as well. Well, Rickert, if you can wait, they're doing my fixed blade, my folding knife. So, but yeah, guys, I would really appreciate it if you just hit double tap the screen, drop a like. It will get more people here, even though there's a good bit of people here. Stonehands says hello. So what's in here is it's basically, this is their FB03. Now this is based on a Japanese outdoor design. There's a lot of history to it. Back in the day, Japanese commoners could not carry swords, and they also were not supposed to carry sharpened tipped knives. They're supposed to be flat tipped knives, but there were some circumstances where you needed this. This is based on a Japanese outdoor knife. They still sell these. You can get these. They're very, very good knives in Japan, like based on the original one. The original ones are a little bit straighter. This has had some modifications made to, God, that is sensitive. Some modifications made to it to make it a little bit more modern. So, Matthew, did I miss a comment? Rickert says he wants, I've got to read the comments here. Stonehand says, hello. Mad Yoko, what's up, bro? Mark Ridgewell is here. Stonehands is hunting groundhogs in his garden out the bathroom window. But yeah, this thing, have I ever shown my design? It was, okay, you guys got to kind of see a blown up schematic of it because I was trying to figure out what everybody wanted. So, but this is done in a saber grind. It is a little thicker behind the edge than a lot of knives. But I have done some precursory testing on this, and it does cut very well. So I'm going to do some testing on this. I don't know. I may just go ahead and send this to Scab because there's not much chance until this thumb heals. Even though it's just got a Band-Aid on it, I managed to pop it open and got it bleeding pretty good earlier, and got it jammed back with some Bass-Trace and got a thumbnail or a Band-Aid on it. So it's not bleeding now, but it definitely was bleeding pretty good earlier. It's a fairly deep cut. So it's very sensitive, and I don't foresee me doing a lot of chopping. I may go ahead and just do some cursory look and walk and talk about it and then send it off to Scab. It comes with a really nice Kydex sheath, and it's got a very tight fit on that. So there's no rattle or play in this. I really dig this thing. Oh, yeah, that's why. That's why we're not doing a lot with it. It is so sore. But I should have went to the, I really should have went to the emergency room for this because it definitely could have used a stitch or 6. But the fact was, I had a video to finish. And so, Mad Yoko, if you rewind back a little bit, basically I stuck the plunge of this knife, the corner of that, I stuck about a ½ inch of it in my thumb. The cut goes all the way across and it's V-shaped, and it goes all the way across my thumb, with the deepest part being on this side here, and I can't feel any of it. I have to tell you, the K329 on this is terrifyingly sharp. It was one of the cleanest cuts I have had in a long time. It's going to heal pretty quickly because just surgically sharp on this. A lot of it has to do with my sharpening. Not to toot my own horn, but fucking beep, beep. So yeah, this definitely did. And I have a couple other boxes. I've seen, really, it's healed up. I don't forget, I went to EMT school. I was in the military. We did basic first aid. It's not that I can't feel it. It's just definitely, there's nothing they can do about it. I've cut myself and hurt myself enough times that I know that I've got a little bit of nerve damage. I already have nerve damage in this whole arm, so I'm not really worried about losing a little bit of feeling. It will come back over time. It always has. But I didn't cut anything real important. Can I? I can, I will. But ZK04 is the last knife they sent me in ZDP 189. So this is, if you know anything, these blue boxes, this is Kunwu, and they have really been nailing it. I've seen some people put out a bunch of stuff. If you haven't checked out Kunwu knives are absolutely amazing. This is another, they're just sitting here in a box. So, well, that's what I'm saying. So Mad Yoko says nerve damage, nerve damage is what it is. I can't feel my big toes from drinking too much. I did quit though. Yeah, I mean, like if you've got nerve damage, it just is what it is. Either it will come back or it won't. But going to the doctor is not going to change anything with how well I can feel that thumb. And I'm 50, I don't want to spend that much time. I'm 50 years old, like, dude, like really, like, can I use it? Yeah, it goes right in my nose. I can scratch behind my ear with it. It works just fine. So this is a brand you need to check out. This is the Kunwu Knives Django. They have a larger version of this. They also have one that they call the Padre, I think, that's very similar to it. This is absolutely one of the most attractive knives I've ever had. I have never cut anything with this except for just some paper, because this came to me from one of my paying members and he was supposed to come and pick this knife up. I've been trying to get him to allow me to send it to him. And he's like, no, I'll get it when I come down. And it's been here for a very long time. And it's really hard for me not to cut things with this. So you need to check out Kunwu. They're another really good brand. But KATSU is a brand that has really impressed me with all the stuff I've seen. So do you have any boot or neck knives? I designed a neck knife. I designed a neck knife that is called the Sea Snake. It is available at Artisan Cutlery. I have a link down below to Artisan. They're one of my affiliates, but I also designed that knife, and they released it. So if you're looking for a neck knife, I've got one down there. I have personal boot knives here, but I'm not going to go digging a bunch of stuff out. I wanted to just talk about safety stuff and being careful. So if you are dealing with knives, knives are sharp. Knives are tools, they're not weapons, no matter what anybody will tell you. No matter what anyone tells you, knives are tools, they're not weapons. I'm gonna do a video here in the next few days of how my hobby got me fired. I'm not actually fired, I'm laid off, but it's because I had a knife at work and somebody complained. But like I said, knives are tools, and as long as you treat them properly, you're not going to have any problems. Scab just cut himself not too long ago doing the 30-second chop challenge or something like that. And even those of us that are really, well, I've carried knives since I was a kid, and you can still hurt yourself. You can, just like with any tool. What do I do for a living? I was doing security surveillance cameras and alarms. And I don't want to get into that right now. But that's what I was doing. I was a knife maker until recently. I still have a black eye from the damn dog. Yeah, knife at work is crazy. And it's just kind of silly, especially considering it was security. I was doing security work. So being careful around knives, and just like, we get complacent. We all get complacent. So if you're dealing with knives, especially sharp knives, like I've got a couple of knives here that I was carrying today. These are usually my day-to-day carry if I'm not filming. These are just, these knives right here are so sharp. They're gonna cut you for keeps. This one still has the factory edge on it. It is just terrifying how sharp this Crewwear Military 2 from Spyderco came. It's insanely sharp. I've never had, I think this is the sharpest knife out of box I've ever had. And I've said that about a bunch of knives. The Kunwu was very sharp, but this, none of them have even held a candle to how sharp this knife came out of box. Even my knife of the year, like my current favorite knife, and I have to say that because I've been carrying it even more than my Norseman. Even this did not come as sharp as that. Now it has my edge on it. It's a different type of edge. And I think it is sharper than that, but not really. I think it's just a different edge, the way the micro serrations are. So guys, if you're here and you're enjoying the content, all 37 of you that I can see, please double tap the screen and drop a like. It will bring more people. Oh, there's 42 of you. Double tap, drop a like on the thing. But if you're carrying a sharp knife, you're gonna cut yourself. And if you're being safe and being careful, you shouldn't really have to worry about cutting yourself badly. It's guys like me and Jared and that literally handle thousands of knives over a course of a couple years. We do have a tendency to catch ourselves doing things that we shouldn't be doing, and we wind up hurting ourselves. Jared just cut himself recently. He told me about it, and I'll let him tell you that one because I laughed when he told me how he did it, and I was like, Jesus Christ. But yeah, doing stupid things, like setting a knife down outside of its sheath and reaching back behind you, it's not a good idea. It's not a good idea, and you can hurt yourself really badly. Had I done it in a different part of my hand, imagine if I had jammed it into this part of my hand, or God, if I had gotten into it, or not paying attention, I sat down on the knife and it rolled and I cut myself bad, because I'm the only one here. The wife and kid don't get back from Japan until Monday. I don't have anyone here to help me if I cut myself badly. So it happens. It happens. People get injured at home, just silly things like that. I'm not talking about just like if you're filming videos or if you're effing around with a knife out in the yard. If you're in the kitchen, be careful where you set your knife. It's, well, you guys are talking to each other. I'll let you read that between the two of you. But yeah, it's just one of those, I just wanted to do a little, stay safe. You guys remember I've cut myself several times here in the last few years, and people always make fun. I have chronic folliculitis. So one reason an OTF can be safer. Yeah, but they're not really very functional knives. They have a very high failure rate. Okay, OTF knives. I want to get this out there because a bunch of, well, just go ahead and do that. So OTF knives really aren't worth, I mean, I have some of them and they're fun. But really, when it comes down to it, they're not very good knives. They're usually limited in their blade width. They're limited in their function. They typically don't have a good behind the edge geometry. I say typically because there are a couple out there. The mechanism is finicky. Even the best one I've ever seen, which was the Hawk Knives Deadlock, if you got stuff down in it, like you had to run it dry, you can't oil it, you've got to run it dry. If you got anything down in it, it wouldn't deploy, it wouldn't pull back, it would derail itself really easily. Any of the Microtechs I've ever dealt with, really finicky if you get dirt and stuff down in them. They're not great. And out the side is better, but still the fact is an OTF is still better. What in the background? The hippopotamus tissue dispenser, the great big fan, or my Ricky Gaunt 1999 Oval Nationals signed race car image of Ricky Gaunt. Rickert says there's two types of knife people. There are those knife people who have cut themselves, and the knife people are still waiting to cut themselves. There's a third category, which is the people that have cut themselves and know they're going to do it a lot more times. I didn't even try to go to the emergency room for this. I was like, I saw it and I was like, shit. I came in, I washed it out real good. I make sure I bled it out real good. I wrapped it up real tight with compression dressing. Obviously the hippo, Aiden says. Yeah, that's a hippo. It's a hippopotamus. You put a box of tissues in it, a box of Kleenex in it. We don't actually use it, and the dog liked it enough that we had to tie it and put it up on the wall. We had to. So, yeah, this is fun. I think this is the most people I've had on a live feed in a while. But yeah, you're gonna cut yourself with knives, and as long as you're careful. Now, I will tell you, if you have knives, you're gonna cut yourself. The best bet: make sure your knives are always sharp. I'm starting to get a headache from reading these comments. Oh, I said I was going to tell you guys the story about my dad with the ramrod. So you guys have to hear this. So my dad was he was a religious hunter. He hunted every season. Deer hunting, squirrel hunting, rabbit hunting, bow season, rifles or shotgun season, muzzle loader season, because we don't have rifle for deer in Ohio. And so my dad built a 54 caliber octagon barrel, rifle barrel muzzle loader. I don't know what I don't speak Spanish. I barely speak good English. I speak bad English at best. At any rate, so my dad had built this muzzle loader, and he had a dowel rod that came with the kit that was for the ramrod. Unfortunately, it had some spiral grain in it. Now, if you've never done a muzzle loader, so what a muzzle loader is, it's just that. You load your powder. You have a primer cap that goes on the nipple behind the hammer. So you put that on, you lock your hammer in a half cock, you pour your load of powder down the barrel, and then you put either your maxi ball, or a lot of times we would use, for a 54 caliber, we would use a 45 caliber pistol round in a sabot that would take it to 54 caliber, and you get a little bit of extra speed, and you get a much more modern bullet. At any rate, you use the ramrod to push that down. You pack your powder, you put your patch and ball and everything, you push it down the barrel, and then you've loaded your gun from the top. And the ramrod is a very important piece of that. And unfortunately, the ramrod dowel rod that they sent for my father had a brass cap on each end. It had one for, there's two different ends. There's a quick tamp for your powder, and then there's the actual cup that the ball goes on, so there's two ends to it. So you'll tap your powder to make sure you got it in, and you'll flip your muzzle loader, your ramrod over, and then you completely set the ball, and then you can pull it up, and you pull it back to second click, and then you fire it, and then you pull that thing off the nipple, and then you start the whole procedure over. At any rate, there was some spiral grain in the dowel rod that they sent. And you know what? Hey, bud, I'm not... There we go. Sorry. I'm not going to try and continue to 24 hours. At any rate, so he was trying to use the new muzzle loader. He was going to get it sighted in and everything. And so I think I was there. It was at our friend Ernie Landis's house, and he had fired that muzzle loader like 3 times. They had a target set up. They had like a shooting range in the back. So he had fired that like 3 times, and on the 4th time, he was ramming the ball, and the dowel rod split, like it cracked, and he rammed that muzzle loader rod in his hand all the way up, and it came out. But the problem was there was so much spiral grain in that it kind of just shattered, and he was trying to get it out, and it broke off like right at the skin. Hey, Rickert. $11 months Rickert's been a paying member. Look at that shit. So at any rate, so there we are in Ernie Landis's garage, and my father is trying to get pieces of wood out of his arm. And on the other end is Ben Stevens, one of my dad's best friends, and he's got a pair of needle nose pliers that they've cleaned up a little. They gave him a cursory wipe down, and he's grabbing and trying to pull chunks of that ramrod out of my dad's arm, and he's pulling those pieces of wood out, and he's got those needle nose pliers all the way up to the pivot point in my dad's arm. And my dad was like, boys, I can't. He's like, I can't take this anymore. I think we're going to have to go to the hospital. And so that's how I judge how bad an injury is having watched my father. My father cut my thumb open one time. See that right there? We were fishing, and I rammed a fishing hook into my thumb. I did. Past the barb. And my dad was like, oh, shit. Let me see. And so when I went over, because I know what he has to do, hey, Will B's here. You have to push it through. You can't, a barbed fishing hook, you cannot, you can't go back. You have to push it the rest of the way through. And so he pushes it the rest of the way through, and he's like, all right, hold still. And I thought he was going to take a pair of wire cutters and cut the end off and then just pull the hook out. No. He takes one of his pocket knives, which is sharp as a razor, and he sticks that knife in my thumb and cuts along the hook and pulls it out. And I was like, what the fuck was that? And he goes, that's a brand new bait. He's like, that's a brand new bait. I don't want to have to throw it away. He's like, them things are like 13, 14 bucks. Cut it straight across, even with it, so that he could pull the hook out and not damage the hook. It's just how I grew up. So that's not a big deal. I judge how badly I've hurt myself by looking back on it and going, well, I've seen worse. It should say based membership. You know what? I may change that just for you, sir. Just for you. I bet you can too, but here's the thing. We're in the middle. And then he just hands me a first aid kit. And he goes, yeah, fucking stop bleeding on my boat. What the fuck? Yeah, with my dad, though, you could break a leg and he'd toss you a towel and say, walk it off, candy ass. But like I said, I grew up in the country, different time, different thing, different era of, let's not forget to take the power strip with us. I am going to go out here in the kitchen. I think there's something on the counter that I wanted to show you guys. No, it's not. It is not on the counter, but we can stand here for a few minutes anyway. What's everybody carrying? So somebody asked me what I was carrying today. I was literally carrying the 2 knives I showed you. But let me You can be dumb, you got to be tough. I mean, that was our family motto. You should see some of my cousins. If you've ever watched The Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia, it's pretty close. I was telling somebody, I was like, I watched that movie and they're like, I don't know how I feel about this movie. I don't know whether I should find it insulting or entertaining. And they looked at me in a while and I was like, it's a little too close to kin. And they're like, what? And I was like, yeah, I don't have to explain that. Where is, oh, you know what? I do not have it here. Jeff, been carrying the Severn for a few days now. I have never gotten to see one. The Tenacious, that's another Spyderco I don't like. Then again, I don't, like, honestly, guys, I like a few Spydercos. Like, I really do. Like, that's basically it. And the ones I do like are really similar. As a matter of fact, a lot of the knives that I really like are super, super similar. I'm super serial, guys. Like, really, I watched that episode of South Park. Man, Bear, Pig, and Al Gore and all that shit. I saw that. It was on one of the streaming channels when I was I was effing around out here. There it is. That's what I wanted to show you guys. I really have got to say, Will B was carrying a Hinderer. X720. Yeah, we're not going to get into the whole Hinderer thing. I'm still upset. I'm still really upset. Rick Hinderer, I used to fucking love Rick, and I liked the idea of what he was doing, and the fact he's from Ohio, and Rick's a bitch. So, Asher Spyro. Oh, the Asher Spyro. That's a good knife. So I've talked to the guy from Asher Knives a bunch of times, and we've talked about getting knives in and putting them on the channel, and I just keep forgetting to get back with him. Like my Star Wars themed t-shirt, fellow geeks. Yeah. Tenacious is highly underrated. Yeah, that might be great, but it can stay that way because I don't like it. Like, I just don't like it. I didn't like the Tenacious. I didn't like the Native series. I had a Native, if anybody was like, if anybody questions, it's not like I didn't carry it, but this thing, if you guys are looking, I have to do another video about this. This thing is so good. This is that petrified fish Havrog. This is such a good knife. And I can't do the lock bar. This is such a good knife. And I just can't get over how good of a knife it is and how overlooked the petrified fish stuff is. This, I got a message from one of the, I got a message on one of my videos that I did about this knife from the designer saying that, like, he's got some plans that he's going to do a full-size version of it. Like, this is not a small knife, so even if it is a smaller version, it's still a very good sized knife. I really dig it. Absolutely love this knife. What really gets overlooked is how smooth the petrified fish knives are. This is so good. Shadow's here. I haven't seen you in forever. This is actually such a really good knife. Their stuff gets overlooked, and I think it's because I don't see a lot of publicity for their stuff. I gotta go grab something. I have to grab my other phone. Japan. It does not look like an Arcane Design. I have to disagree. Like Aiden, I agree with you on a lot of stuff on that one. That does not at all look like an Arcane Design. Israel stuff has got a very distinct look to it, and you can pick it out of a lineup just like a Ferrum Forge. or a lot of times a Microtech. They have a very distinct look to them, and I really don't. I don't do scheduled lives anymore, buddy. So, if you guys don't know, Arcane Designs has got some really amazing, over-the-top, futuristic designs that they do, but they're all super functional. I love all the stuff that they've done so far. It has been really good, and I can't tell you why I haven't bought one. Like, I should have by now, and I haven't. So I feel bad because I love their stuff. Hey, I forgot to call you. Go check out Sergeant Rock's Headbangers Ball over on Rumble. It is probably the best music compilation show you're going to see on Rumble. I don't remember, do you still do it on YouTube there, Sergeant Rock? I had to go get some lemonade. It's nowhere near as hot today as it's been. So, he likes it. Hey, Mikey. Yeah, so if you haven't checked that out, you should go over to Rumble. And check out my channel on Rumble, too. I will tell you that, like, you can watch my stuff on both. You can watch my stuff on both platforms. I would love to start building my audience on Rumble and get away from YouTube. I would love to get away from YouTube entirely. They are really just as much work as creators do to get such little in return is just ridiculous, because like the whole thing is that they don't promote smaller channels. They just don't. Channels like mine have a very limited chance of success. Doing live feeds like this definitely have helped. It gets you more exposure. Like right now, like there's 40 people here, but like real time, there's actually like about anywhere, like in the last 30 minutes, there's been like 980 views on this live feed. So it does help to be able to do stuff like this. But the fact is that like this doesn't make any money. I have started tagging products. If you guys see my videos, if you see it, there's items that I find that I can tag through YouTube's sales page that I'm putting on. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, those, just so you know, those ads, if you purchase those, they do help the channel. Plus I have all my affiliate links. But I think that Rumble offers a better proposal for most creators, because they don't try to get involved in what you're trying to put out. They don't try to stop you from saying things. They don't try to squelch your channel. It's more of an even playing field on Rumble. So if you really do want to like branch out and not necessarily support me on YouTube, you can support me on locals there. I have a locals where you basically can pay. Hey, love from India. Aiden says Rumble has to do more advertising. I got to get my reading glasses. Well, welcome from India, as Aiden said. Yeah, I think it's gonna come, especially now that I guess YouTube and Google, there's a federal judge that says they have to be broken up because it's a monopoly, which I agree with. Because I mean, if you're doing anything online, I mean, here's the thing. Like I think it's really unfair to the folks that are on Rumble. If you look at what they've been doing, where like go on and look up a video for anything and see if you get anything that is other than a YouTube video. And so here's the problem. I cannot figure it out how to get the streaming to work where I can do both. I have yet to figure out how I can dual stream. It's 100% because YouTube is squashing the ability to multi-platform stream, and I can't do it vertical like this. So I had been doing some of my live feeds on there, but like it's really hard to figure out how to do the simulcast thing. It really sucks. It really, really is hard. I had done it before, but they've limited the ability. I used to be able to just put videos up on YouTube and then everything would auto-populate on Rumble, and they took away that ability. And I'm like, I'm still putting my stuff on your platform. Why are you squelching my ability to put it on a platform that people that don't like YouTube can use? So, who knows? Who knows? I mean, like, the reason I'm doing so many live feeds is, the reason I've been doing so many live feeds lately is because, well, I'm laid off. I got laid off for knives. Can you show an Indian talwar, the making process, and the... Please review old one. No, I can't. Oh yeah, I got laid off. Okay, so I was at work and everything was going fine. I was happy with the job. I really liked it, and I was really enjoying it, and I was hoping to like get promoted. Now I'm not fired. I'm just temporarily laid off right now, is the way it's listed. But what happened was someone complained. They said that I had knives, and they felt uncomfortable because I had knives, and I'm like, it's a security gig, and you're a security guard. And so they were like, they complained, their company complained to property management, who then reached out to my company, and my company was like, okay, we'll talk to him. They got the information, and I told him, I was like, yeah, I had a knife, and I was like, I did film some shorts, like on my break. I was on my time, and they were, so the person from the other company complained. Property management came back and said, nope, he's got to go. Ah, shit, I just spilled lemonade all over. Hang on. We got to grab, I just cleaned the entire house. Hang on a second, if you guys will still be able to hear me. But yeah, there was a complaint. And so since we were on contract, and they were on contract, and our company has to abide by property managers say, they were like, well, he can't come back. So I didn't even get a warning, and the company had to lay me off because I didn't do anything wrong by company standards. I did not get a warning, but since the company was like, well, you don't have to, since property management was like, you don't have to fire him, but he can't come back here. It was basically one of those deals where they didn't have an option. So I don't know how well. Could you guys hear everything I said when I went all the way around a corner? I haven't ever tested that to see if it transmits once I'm out of line of sight. I'm cleaning up lemonade that I spilled all over the coffee table that I just finished cleaning like less than an hour ago. So yeah, smash that like button, guys, or just double tap the screen. You don't have to smash anything. So yep, that's what happens. So sounded like I didn't leave. Well, that's because these are not cheap microphones. This whole setup that I got for the microphones was on Jared over at Neves Knives recommendation. It is an awesome setup. If you are in the market for this kind of a setup, there's a transmitter currently attached to my pocket. This is attached to my phone. This is the receiver unit. The transmitter unit is down here. The microphone is right here. This is kind of a professional grade thing. I'm trying to get an affiliate link for these microphones. And then I'll start putting it in. But if you're outdoor folk and you need a camera to capture your hillbilly doings, Insta360 Ace Pro is what I have been filming a bunch of stuff on recently. It's a great camera. It's not going to replace. It's not going to replace the filming that I do. It's not going to replace stuff that I do with my phone, which is because it has a set focal length. It is basically a GoPro alternative. It's way better than a GoPro. So if that's something you're looking for, absolutely check out the affiliate link that I have for Insta360 down below, and check out that camera. It's a great camera, and it's completely waterproof and all that stuff. How much do Damascus knives cost in your place? I don't know, because I don't buy Damascus steel knives. I typically don't like them. It is an Arcane, well, the original Damascus was great, which was WHATS steel, but the forge welded steel that you get, it's substandard. It is like, I see these guys and they go, oh, I'm doing canister Damascus and I'm doing forge welds, and I'm like, I don't care how attractive forge pattern welded steel is. It's still too dissimilar. Two steels that do not heat treat at the same temperature. Two steels that are not the same molecular construction, so they're not going to bind as well as you want. Two steels are going to lose their edge at different rates, which means that edge is going to be gritty and rough, because one steel is going to get dull faster than the other, and you have a chance of delaminating. So I don't know, because I don't buy it. Now, Damascus Steel and powdered metallurgy Damascus are different. They are more akin to the actual WHATS steel. I still don't like those as much. I would much rather just have a mono steel construction. One steel. I kind of have gotten to where I really don't find them that attractive either. I'm like, it's kind of too much. It's like Damascus. I don't like Damascus either anymore, unless it's just for an accent. Like if you got an accent piece that you're wanting to do, like an inlay in Damascus, that works great. A pocket clip in Damascus. You get the same benefits of titanium. You get the look of Damascus. Now, there was a time I did love it. But just like acid wash blades, they had their time, they had their place. And right now is not that time or place. The Sandmine Damascus with the salt. Okay, that too, I don't dislike. Technically, though, if you want to get into the way that you're talking about pattern welded Damascus, Sandmine is, regardless of whether it's pattern welded on the surface, Sandmine is a type of Damascus by the pattern welded criteria that we've set. I'm going to have ants if I don't get that cleaned up soon. I mean, after we do the live. I do have, let's go out here. I do have a couple knives. What's my favorite audio setup? This is about it. I like these microphones. They're not heavy. They don't take up very much. They take up no space. I can throw them in my pocket if I want. I have got somewhere in here, in this cluster, I'm not going to finish that. Well, I have one. I have one that's mine. I have a Ferrum Forge Lackey in Damascus and carbon fiber. And then I do have, that's right, that's what we were talking about. Where did I put it? That's what I can't, okay. Okay, I'm using the Rode wireless Go 2 system. I only bought the one transmitter and one receiver, but you can get the set that has two transmitters and one receiver so that you can mic up two people and do like an interview and things like that, and the channels go through. But it's just about the best. I've tried so many different microphones. I probably, let me see. I probably went through like 8 different types of like lavalier mics and wireless mics and ones that would connect directly to your phone and boom mics and all that stuff. And then when I got these, like I said, Jared recommended I don't know if this, I can't remember if this is backwards for you guys or if you can read it, but this is it. It is the Rode Wireless Go 2. And like I said, the microphone is the same size as the transmitter. The lavalier is here. If you don't want to use a lavalier, because these are kind of pricey, if you get the good one that is by the brand with like almost indestructible wire, really good quality microphone, you can add that to it, but you don't need it. You can put this right on your shirt and do it. There's also a magnetic clip system. Like you can put this clip and magnet system on it. Let me see here. It's a strong magnet. So you can hook this right on and just click that on there. DJI is the only ones that I didn't try, and the only reason I didn't try those before these, because I was looking at them, was because Jared over at Knives and told me how good his audio wound up being after. And I have to say, it makes it so much easier to edit videos using this. Now, the video you guys are going to see tomorrow, there is an issue I recorded. This does have the ability to record the audio track on it independently. And the reason I did that is the camera that I bought, I cannot seem to get an interface with the microphone to the camera. So it's not recording the audio. So what I had to do was film the audio track, record the audio track separate, film the video, make a loud noise at the beginning of the clip, and then line those up. But the problem is that the last part of the clip was really long. And so I don't know what happened if I think it has something to do with the speed and compression of the camera versus the lossless, the uncompressed audio that I recorded with this. But after like the last few, like 30 seconds, the audio and the video aren't synced. Even though they were synced at the beginning of the clip, they weren't synced at the end. So I think just learning from doing it and knowing that I have to record the audio separate from that camera, I'm gonna have to do broken up segments. I'm just gonna have to line those audio segments up more times. But it's really not that hard. So I'm curious if they could stand up to, anyway, we call Damascus and WHATS. Yeah. Yeah, I don't like either one of those steels. There's a much higher chance of failure. Watch Forged in Fire. It truly is a much higher rate of failure with pattern welded and forge welded Damascus. Is it attractive? It can be, yes. If I had to pick the best middle of the ground direction to go, Damascus Steel's expensive. This is core Damascus, and you could take these top layers and fold them if you wanted, but in the middle, the entire middle of this, that's just a jacket on top. So those layers that you see there are only there for show. They don't do anything with the cutting potential of a knife. The entire centerpiece, the center core of this is ZDP 189. So this is probably the best of both worlds. You get that super hard edge, and then you have the 420J jacket steel, This isn't 420J, but it is a 420J variant. I mean, it's basically going to always be just shitty 420J. Now on this one, what they did was, so that they get the shine, it's 420J jacket and ZDP 189 alternating layers. I mean, I would have been fine with this if it had just been all ZDP 189. I don't find them to be, that's what I say. I don't find, so Rickert says Damascus or Damascus Steel, I don't even like the looks of it. I don't find it that attractive anymore. At one point I did. I really did. And like people, when we talk about like Japanese swords, old Japanese swords have got that. Japanese swords were folded not for looks. I mean, they learned to appreciate that folded pattern in the steel after a time, but they didn't acid etch it to accentuate it. It just simply was there. The reason that they folded their steel was they had shitty steel. To take that shitty steel and turn it into a usable product, you've got to do a few things. It's got a lot of impurities, and the carbon content in that steel was very inconsistent. So what you would do is you take that steel, and as you fold it, you're bringing those impurities to the surface, the slag that's coming off when they hammer it out, and you see all the sparks of slag flying. You're basically purifying your steel, and you're taking that carbon and you're distributing it throughout the material from tip to tail way more evenly. And what they would do is they would find their steels that were of high quality that they would use for the edge and save that, and then do a sanmai, which was they would take their main blank and they would fold it and get their impurities and get it to where they wanted it, and then they would open that up, and then they would insert the high carbon steel piece in that little boat, and then they would fold that all together, so that you were basically maintaining a very sharp, high carbon, high hardness steel at the edge, and then softer garbage steel at the back. And then when they would quench it, they would put thick clay across the back all the way up, so that would cool slower, and then a very thin layer of, well, guess what? You are no longer on here. There we go. So I don't even like your username. So eat a dick. So what they would do is that's how you get that differential heat treat. There was a thin layer of clay on that really high carbon edge area, thicker clay on the back. And when they quench it, that part would quench really fast and get very hard. And then the spine would stay a little softer and cool slower. So you had a very hard, very sharp edge, and you had a softer, more resilient back. That way your blade didn't break. And that's how the curvature, because as that softer steel would quench slower, it would pull like this and cause the curvature of the blade. So that's where, and that's why that's why I laughed so hard when Cold Steel tried to patent the term. They tried to patent the term sanmai, and I was like, bro, sanmai is a construction method that's been used for centuries in Japan. I was like, you can't do that. That's dumb, Lynn. How's the thumb today? It's really sore, which is why we're not messing around with a lot of knives. So it was their thing. The question was, do you touch kids? But that wasn't all of it. Like, I saw his username and I'm like, oh yeah, that's not gonna fucking fly here. Yeah. The older blades. This is gonna drive me nuts. We're changing this. I'm sorry. We're We're changing this. It's sharp. It's bothering me. It's great for filming other stuff, but I can easily just go right to this. We're going to go ahead and just give me a second. I'm going to rearrange the placement of the microphone for you so that it's a little bit better. It's not so much that I care that it's like pulling on my shirt. What I care about is the fact that it definitely is sharp. And I don't know what I did wrong with the placement of the cord this time, but it definitely was sharp. So we're gonna put this right there. There we go. Works every bit as well. There we go. No change in that at all. This thing is usually really, really good, but I think that the direction that I pulled my cords through when I set it up this time, I believe I screwed that up a little. And I was having a very, that was very uncomfortable, that piece right there. So, yeah, but whoever asked earlier what I was carrying, this is what I was carrying today for most of the day because I don't need my thumb for it. Because it's a compression lock. I had this in my pocket for a little bit, but pushing on the thumb studs of the axis lock was less than optimal. So, Knife Nerds did a video on Damascus. Give it a watch. There's a video of a guy making WHATS steel. Actually, you know what I need to do? Now that I've got that out and we're doing it this way, I need to put the dead cat on it because I do have a fan running. I don't know. Give me a second, guys. You may hear a little bit of audio loudness. Hang on. I have to do it this way. I will try not to blow out your eardrums. There we go. No, Rickard, I think he is in India. He was talking about India style folded and WHATS steel blades. I love this. This is the company, so you guys know, this is the company that is making my folding knife design for me. So you got to be careful. WHATS steel, a lot of people are calling things WHATS steel that they're really not. So WHATS steel is a type of crucible steel. It's not done in a folded and hammered format. It's simply done as you're pouring in material. It forms a bloom, and it's done in a different format. It has to be done in a specific fashion. It's got to be done the right way. And a lot of people are calling things WHATS steel that aren't. So you got to be careful out there. Oh, yeah, I was going to talk about this. So my buddy, before I forget, my buddy bought a knife. Well, he tried to buy a knife. He was looking for a specific knife, a CRKT Akai, I believe is what it was. It's a small little fixed blade. It's a Burnley design. It's discontinued. So, oh, I'm not saying you don't. I'm just saying you got to be careful buying it. The problem with it is not that like people are calling certain things WHATS steel that aren't. So at any rate, he tried to buy a knife off of, he went online and he thought he was on the actual parent website for CRKT. Well, the thing is, that specific CRKT knife, he loves it. He's had it for a while. The Burnleys were good. The knives that Burnley did with CRKT were actually really good. And he loved this knife, but he would go through them because they were like 30 bucks and he would lose them. He's a lineman, but it was a really good knife for him for easy out, but it was a friction fit on Kydex with the wrap. So at any rate, he went through he went through looking for some, and he found that knife on crktcutlery.com. And I was like, well, that doesn't sound right. And he goes, oh, wait, I'll tell you the rest of the story. So he ordered it, and he was going to order 3 or 4 of them at any rate. So he did his PayPal thing, and he gave the information, and he tried to do PayPal at any rate. So the next thing you know, he's like, then I get an email saying there's been these, like somebody cleared out our account on at our bank account. And I was like, oh no. So if you're looking, crktcutlery.com is not, don't go to that. Find the actual CRKT site. crktcutlery.com, I do not believe is their parent site. But at any rate, however it worked out, when he ordered his knives from crktcutlery.com, they cleared out his checking account. So he showed me screenshots of it. So I wanted to let you guys know, you gotta be careful with where you're buying knives, because there's a lot of folks out there that will just try to take all your money. It happens pretty often, to be honest. I'm trying to find something. I wanted to show you guys something. I may have already given it back to the owner. I do believe it went back to its home. Yeah, it did. Never mind. M18, best knife. Okay, so the first flipper knife, Elliot Williamson and I have the exact same story. The first flipper knife we ever purchased. What really got us into knives, into folding knives, like big time into folding knives. The exact same knife for both of us. The first flipper knife we ever owned, Elliot Williamson at Fair & For's Knife Works, and me, Crazy Sharp, Mike Emler. The first flipper knife we ever owned, either one of us, was the same knife. It was a CRKT Carson Design M16. And if you guys remember that knife, it was a very popular knife. And it was a good knife. I had the titanium one. I had the M16T, and Elliot had the M16 something else. But yeah, don't forget to hit the like button. There's 38 of you and only 28 I mean, you know, there's more than that here because I'm looking at it. There's, right in the last 60 minutes, there's been 1,381 views on this live feed just by itself. So I know there's more than 38 of you, but if you could drop a like, that'd be great. So it really sucks when you're looking for something and you find a website and you find what you're looking for, and then they screw you. I had the same thing happen to me a few years ago. I was looking for a specific knife that had been out of, it was, I can't remember what knife it was. I was looking for a specific knife, couldn't find it anywhere. I went online to a vendor that said they had it. Jay Hardesty, I have to ask, are you from Ohio? Because I am related to so many Hardestys on the Stonebrook side of my family. I have a partially serrated Tonto all black version. Yeah. Anytime I see anybody named Hardesty, I immediately think Hardestys. I'm related to so many of the Hardestys all over Ohio. That's just why I ask. But yeah, I was looking for a specific knife. I found someplace that it was in stock. I was in the process of ordering it, and I'm from Coshocton. Should figure that one out. I'm from Coshocton, Ohio. Ask your family if they're related to the Stonebrooks. Oberlin. Oh, I know where Oberlin's at. My friend went to college at Oberlin. Oberlin University. So I went to go get this knife, and I had put it in my cart, and I was going through, and then I see all these comments online about that company. Like I looked it up and I was like, oh yeah, I don't know what led me to go on. And I was looking and everybody was like, oh, don't buy anything here. It's a scam. They take your money and then they never ship the item. The guy's like, I had a big order that's been pending for, I think he said that the order had been pending for like 5 months. It was like a $500 or $600 order. And then I see in that whole thread, like somebody be like, yeah, they took my money. Like they never shipped anything. I got a pre-shipping status. You know how when you order something and you get the like, hey, shipping label's been created. It went that far and then the shipping label was like taken out of the system. And they apparently they were doing that. So what they do is they generate a shipping label and then cancel it. And they're like, oh, there's a problem with our shipping. It should be out. And then they would do it again. And then they just wouldn't respond anymore to answers. Remember, guys, this is my second rodeo. So well, all he had to do, I mean, here's the thing. He has Navy Federal Credit Union just like I do. If you're if you have a Navy Federal Credit Union, if your card gets out, you're not responsible. Like they won't even question it. Like, hey, I didn't make this. Like somebody stole this, and they're like, oh, okay, yeah. So they'll figure it out and they'll get the money back through the transfers. But then he had to cancel. He had to cancel their cards. So in India, it's illegal to have a blade more than 9 inches, but many do not follow that. They're caught straight 2 years in jail. Even spring knives are illegal. Yeah, I heard in India the knife laws are illegal. Here's the thing. I don't carry a knife with a blade more than 9 inches. I don't carry a knife with a blade more than 4 inches most of the time. I really don't see, like, I know Will B is here. Like this knife, this would probably be the smallest knife he would carry. This is on the upper edge of what I carry. This is of that, like, this is a 9.5. That's pretty much about the maximum I carry because that's where that's where I find the most use. I actually prefer a lot of the smaller knives. Yeah, I do have a tendency to. I do have a tendency to. There's a good chance that anytime you see me that's close. So, yeah, there's a 99% chance that 99% chance when you see me, there's a good chance that I'm carrying a firearm. So if I grew up carrying firearms, I was in the military, carried a firearm. I'm in my house. People are like, why do you carry a gun around your house? I'm like, it's my house. Why do I carry a gun? Because a cop is too fucking heavy. And the fact is that when seconds count, the cops are mere minutes away. So, we got to be careful talking about that on here. That's a touchy subject on YouTube. Not that I'm trying to take a side. I'm just saying I just don't want the fucking feed getting taken down because next thing you know, I'm going to have Israeli flags and fucking everything going. I don't even mention it. I do carry knives for personal protection sometimes. Like I know there's times I can't carry a pew pew. So God, I love this knife. I love this knife, but the problem is I have problems with it right now because of the deployment. I don't want to say, like, if we were on Rumble, I'd let you say whatever you wanted, but YouTube is a bunch of bitches. Guys, I keep forgetting to remind you guys when there's so many of you here, if you have not tried it yet, I have a link to Coffee Brand Coffee. And you know, we just heard what was going on with Dunkin' Donuts in the news cycle. Not to get into anything political, but like the thing that they were trying to bully Rumble into taking down Steven Crowder and other voices. If you want to find an alternative to Dunkin' Donuts coffee, which I already have, it's Coffee Brand Coffee. Not trying to give it do have an affiliate with them. They used to be a sponsor. They're no longer a sponsor, but I still have my affiliate. There's a link to them down below that has a 10% discount built in, but you can also use my coupon code crazysharp. But they have literally some of the best coffee you're ever going to have. There's that one. I have this one, which is a roaster's choice. This one, which is a roaster's choice. I have this one that's a roaster's choice. I have this one that is a summer specialist, strawberries and cream. I have a lot of their coffee. So they have a lot of them. And if you guys want to try them, you can save 10% with the link that's in the description of the video for Coffee Brand Coffee. 10% off on what I think. Like I drink a lot of coffee. I still say that's the best coffee I've ever purchased. Have I tried filter coffee? Does Jeremy send me coffee? No, I bought all that. Not anymore. He did send me, he sent me some a couple times. He sent me some of like the special stuff that he had for, I think if I remember right, it was when I first started and I had them as a sponsor. And I think he sent me some samples that they were testing, like coffee that they wanted to, but that was a while ago. That was a while ago. It's been almost a year now that I've had them, that I had them as a sponsor, and then now as just as an affiliate. So, but yeah, that's a company that's not going to use your money against you. I refuse Starbucks and now Harley Davidson and all that. I don't understand why companies can't just make the fucking product and shut the fuck up. So, have I tried filter coffee? I've got so many different types of coffee, ways that I've done it. Pre-ground, grind my own. I got a French press. I have a vacuum siphon filter. I have a coffee pot. I have a Keurig. I have one of the stovetop espresso maker. I got like 6 different coffee pots. I have an espresso maker and a stovetop one. I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 6 different coffee makers. And they all serve a different purpose, because I got to tell you, some of those coffees are way better out of the vacuum filter. I like it in whole bean. I know it's done by weight, but sometimes it just feels like I didn't get all the coffee I was supposed to get when I buy bean coffee. I do have to say that there's less chance there's going to be garbage filler in your coffee if you're buying beans. You're not going to get any filler material. So, actually, Aiden says Mike's a tar drinker. Most of his blood is coffee. I would say that I drink less coffee than I used to. But I still drink about a pot of coffee a day. Actually, I only had 3 cups of coffee today. Granted, they were very big cups, but I still only had 3 cups of coffee today. Typically, I have 5 or 6. So I got to throw that away. Now that it's got lemonade all over it. I don't need it anyway. It's about time to take the trash out anyway. So, my wife doesn't make coffee. My wife doesn't drink coffee. My wife drinks tea. If you're interested, see. There you go. Yeah, we'll keep an eye out on that. I don't know why it held that for review. It may have been because it has Jared's channel in it. So, guys, I don't mean to rain on the parade, but I don't know if you guys know this. You guys can drop super chats. I try not to mention it too often, but with me being unemployed currently, like with me being on being laid off, definitely does help support the channel. I had to buy new lights though. Here's what sucks. I had to buy new lights because I was having problems with the switches in my lights. I'm gonna try and take them apart and fix them. But it looks like I would just have to bypass the switch and then they would be always on. So there would be this like, no, I'd have to disconnect the batteries, just bypass the switch, just leave them like a plugged in light, and then it would just be on or off. Well, there would be no way to charge the batteries. So I don't know, I'm gonna see what I can do about it, but I had to buy 2 lights. So now I have 4 lights, but 2 of them don't work 100%. 2A Dave says, I only drink water and beer. Everything else is bad for you. Coffee is actually very good for you. So is tea. But I'm drinking, sorry, I'm drinking water at the moment. So what is everyone doing for this weekend? I'm, as I said, cleaning the house before my wife gets back. And so, yeah, well, you don't eat vegetables either. So that means that you've got other things that are, I've got to spray my nose, guys. I'm sorry. My allergies are so bad. Your wife has COVID. How did she catch COVID? Like, I thought it was gone. I'm just kidding. Didn't she get her vaccination? We can joke about that shit now. I have asked Neves if he is interested in making a video about the, he was, yeah. I just put $30 beef, I just put a $30 beef pot roast using fresh mushroom, cutlery, Yukon Gold. God, it's something I haven't done anywhere else. Pot roast. I haven't done a pot roast in a while. Let's go out here. So I've got lights that are hardwired in, but these are the lights I've been using. Unfortunately, these 2 right here have got something wrong with the switch. You can see that they don't come on. Like I have to play with the switch and then they'll get to blinking. So as a preemptive, yeah, you saw it. As a preemptive measure, I purchased 2 new ones. These have bigger batteries and they have a different feel to the switch. So when I start filming, I have to clean this mess up. You guys want to know how many knives it takes to run a YouTube channel? A lot. So you can have comparison videos and stuff like that. There's just knives everywhere out here. So pot roast sounds great. I made a pot roast that time that you came down, Dave, and you didn't even try it. If I remember right, I had a pot roast. Oh. What is this? I'll try to watch it. I don't watch a lot of content. I really don't. You know what I watch? I watch police videos. Nothing makes me happier than watching a dipshit get tased. And then going in the comment section, it was like, they didn't have to do that. I'm like, shut the fuck up. He had that coming. The only thing would be better if they'd pepper sprayed him and then tased him. I have no idea. I have no idea why that comment got held. I'll tell you what, guys, I'm not going to stay on here too much longer. I do have to take the dog for a long walk, and it's about that time, so I got to make prep, which means that I have to eat a 100 milligram edible so that I'm ready for our walk. I have started doing something that we call the weed about. It's like a walkabout, but it's simply a man. It's the daily adventures of a man, his dog, and a chemically altered brain. And I've really come to enjoy it. The dog and I go out for about a 2-hour walk every day, and I just enjoy being outside, especially on a day like today. It's only like 75 degrees here. Beautiful. What is it? It's 71 degrees right now, which is about 11 degrees cooler than it's been for the majority of the week. And it's just a beautiful night. And so I'm not going to stay on here too much longer. I'm going to go infuse myself with some spicy candy and take the dog for a long walk. Oh, it's the best. It's one of the best walks. Like, I really have gotten to, like, it's, I get depressed and I wind up doing, like, so I got, just to give you guys an idea. So I get depressed because the layoff happened, YouTube revenue dropped off, all these things, they get, and I find that going out for a long walk with the dog, just, it's fucking relaxing. So when the daughter comes back, we're gonna be doing that. Yeah, it's a beautiful night. There's a nice breeze. I'm gonna get myself ready. I want to change. I want to put on a long sleeve shirt because it does 71. Like, I know a lot of people talk about like I've gotten used to, because I was downrange. I was in Jabali, Dubai, really hot places, Iraq, Kuwait, and it definitely did fuck up my thermostat. Plus, it's hot out here sometimes. I honestly can say that I've gotten to where like 71 is like cooler than I want to be without a sweatshirt or button-up long sleeve shirt. So I'm gonna definitely, my button-up just came out of laundry. So at any rate, guys, I'm gonna get off of here. It's been a blast. I love y'all. Make sure you check out the videos. Tomorrow's video is gonna be a lot of fun. It's the one where I injure myself in it. I still have to make the thumbnail for it, so I gotta do that tonight. Your house is set to 67. It was 72 or 73 when I went to bed last night, and I used the down comforter. I do well in this temperature range. I like it. So I'll see you guys later. Take it easy, and check out the other videos. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you guys. Maybe we'll do this tomorrow afternoon. So if you haven't subscribed, please do so, and I'll see you next time.